we've had loads of calls coming in, as you can imagine. Newcastle fans, I'm sure, just frustrated by what has been a difficult summer. Here's Paul, who joins us this morning. Morning, Paul. How you doing?
Hi, Paul.
Hi. I'm fine. How's yourself?
Yes,
yeah, we're good.
All right. Tell us how you feel and how frustrating this has all been for you.
I mean, it's frustrating, but we have shot ourselves in the foot a little bit because we were slow to appoint a director of football.
Yeah.
So that didn't help. But the season hadn't finished shortly when we were starting to hear Man U manager, he likes to look at Tonali. The Man City manager, he likes to look at Livramento. Saudi are looking at this player. And so we had all that. The season hadn't finished. When we started trying to buy teams, like Delap, João Pedro, Chelsea stepped in, and then Man U have stepped in, Man City have stepped in, Liverpool took Ekitike and looking at Isak. But the one thing that's bugging me is Manchester United. Now, several months ago, not years, several months ago, Manchester United sacked a couple of hundred people.
Yeah.
So Jim Ratcliffe was turning around and saying we could go bust in months if we don't sort this out. We could go bust. That was what he was actually saying. He seemed to be saying it. And now we've just spent over 200 million. So where's this money come from? None of you have picked up on that. None of the media are turning around saying, "Hold on a minute. Months ago you were claiming poverty, and now you're spending 200 million."
Yeah. Well, just on that is that there was quite a number of people that were saying that, this is a possible outcome of where they're going to say one thing and do another, because they were the reason why you've lost Sesko reminds me of where Tevez went to Manchester City and left Manchester United, where Man City moved heaven and earth to get Tevez at the club, and it embarrassed Manchester United. Now it's a case of they don't want to lose Sesko to Newcastle United, so they are going to move heaven and earth to make sure that Sesko deal got over the line. And it was the same with Mbeumo that could have gone to Spurs, but they.
There was Cunha as well.
Yeah,
so there's three players that spent over 200 million. I mean, the PSR thing, they had a meeting 4 days after Newcastle were bought by PIF, and the Associated Business sponsorship thing has killed us. Seller offered Newcastle £35 million a year sponsorship for the shirt deal. The Premier League said, no, that's too much, and we got 25 million. So we're trying different things, but the thing is, it's not just us. I mean, like, Everton, they've just moved into a new ground. Lovely looking ground, by the way.
Yeah.
So they're going to up their money. So they're going to, hopefully progress a little bit. Aston Villa, they're looking to progress. Not Forest. Is this going to happen to all the other teams where they get up to the top 7, top 6, trying to creep in, and it's going to be like, no, we'll have him, no, we'll have him. So it's not just Newcastle. I mean, they've done the same to Leicester years ago. Leicester won the league, and then the following season, Chelsea, we'll have Kante, and et cetera. And they picked the best players off Leicester. So Leicester, the following season, didn't have, they weren't anywhere near winning the league. But, I mean, it just seems to be the fact that if you try to get in there, that there's a top 6. I mean, they actually turned around and said that the top 6 were having a meeting days before the Premier League meetings to discuss what was going to be discussed. I mean, all this came out in the past and all that was all over the papers. But it's just the fact that you're sacking 200 people and then you're spending 200 million. There's 200 people in Manchester thinking, well, hold on a minute, I got me cards. Months ago, not years ago, months ago.
Yeah. It's a good call, Paul. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah, the maths for some aren't adding up,
no,
that's for sure.
Well, it would be naive for us to think that Manchester United wouldn't be competitive.
Yes.
Okay, that would be naive. Barcelona were a club as every bit as powerful as Manchester United, had huge financial issues a few years ago, gone back. They got rid of people like Lionel Messi, who they couldn't afford anymore.
Yeah.
Antoine Griezmann, €700,000 a week. You know, they had to change everything at their football club, and they had an embargo on their transfers as well. They had players signed that they couldn't play. You know, but they still were running because it's Barcelona.
Yeah.
There was never ever a point when Manchester United, for me, are going to go bankrupt. I thought that was just a statement that was just totally wrong.
Yeah. We've got another Newcastle fan waiting to speak to us. Steve, good morning.
A very good morning to you, Natalie and Tony. I love listening to your show on a Saturday and in a weekend.
Thank you, Steve.
That's very kind. Thank you.
Well, following on from the last call, I must say, by the way, I'm an avid listener of talkSPORT. I listen to all the shows, and you do present a balanced view. So thanks for having us on. The last caller was brilliant. Now, following on from him, I want to set up a new organisation. I live in Tingley, Wakefield, called the WAPSR. And it's wannabes against PSR.
I like it already.
Now, Tony, you've played for a lot of wannabe clubs. I know you played for Chelsea a bit, but I used to actually watch you play football. That's how old I am.
Oh, thank you. Made me feel even older as well.
You played for Villa.
Yeah.
Villa got loads of money. Can't spend it. Natalie, you support Brentford, don't you?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Lovely club. Everybody hoovering your players up, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm putting out a call now, come on, stop it. Villa, Nottingham Forest, they've got Marinakis, loads of money to spend. Everton, historically brilliant club. Yeah? I remember them winning it wasn't premierships then, but top club. Leeds have now joined the Premiership. Massive club, massive support. That's where I live. And obviously Newcastle. Now all these clubs have got good backing, but they cannot spend the money because we're just wannabes. Now Chelsea hoovering players up like nobody's business. Man City, Liverpool, and now Man United. Now Newcastle is a lovely place to live. I love Newcastle, and I would chop me right hand off for Newcastle to win something. No, I'm sorry I'm getting emotional because it really, really bugs Newcastle's fans, all this. And basically, just to finish my point, if I paid Tony and you, Natalie, £50,000 a week to come to Newcastle and eat Greg's sausage rolls and stotty cake and peas pudding, you may be tempted in spite of, we're 200 miles away from wherever.
Oh, no, I think 50 grand a week, you've sold it to us. You've got a bargain.
I'll take 25, Steve, if you can sort it out.
I'll take the 75 then. The persuasiveness of Newcastle. Are they selling the club in the right way? Perhaps that is part of the issue. Why not get involved this morning in the conversation? 03717 223344. That's the number to call us on, which is what Gavin has done this morning, and he joins us now. Gavin, how are you today?
Hi, Gavin.
Hello, you all right?
Yeah, we're all right. So frustrating times for you currently.
Yeah, for a number of reasons. Obviously, the club as a whole probably don't get off scot-free. The way they've handled it hasn't been great. I feel as if they needed to act quicker. They needed to have things in place prior to, obviously, other clubs hearing about who you're after and stuff and allowing them to come in and trump you. But the PSR thing and the Man U caller before just made us laugh. These people like the Big Six are just so blinded by that they've built this thing over 20, 30 years, they've earned the right, as if those teams weren't the same teams spending the big money back in the day before PSR and FFP. Like, Man U have done it for years. When Fergie was there, they did the exact same thing. They would cherry-pick the best players and buy them. So they're already that level ahead of you. So I'm not saying I don't want the Saudi owners and PIF to go and just blast a load of money and have no constraints whatsoever. It's just got to be managed properly. Like, it got brought in, 4 or 5 years ago, and the inflation of players since then by the Big Six has been so cleverly done. So a player that was 15, 20 million back then, when the constraints were 105 million, is now 60, 70, 80 million. So they can afford to blast that and still sit in those 105 million losses. The teams below can't, and that's how they've managed it. And it basically, people think the Super League got knocked on the head. This is becoming the Super League. Like, the big six are just going to run away, and it's going to be completely non-competitive. And it makes no sense why the Premier League's basically destroying itself.
Hey, look, just a couple of things there. Gavin, the first thing is, look, the transfers you've gone after, like Mbeumo, everybody knew that this summer he would move. It was just the timing was as he was moving on. So clubs had a real run at this, and Manchester United would have known this for 6 months, maybe even to a year. That it's an opportunity. Likewise with Sesko, many people knew that he would be moving on. And you can make that case with a number of players that if they're in that position to go, clubs are not just going last minute, we'll get him in. Man United have made it quite clear that they are going to move heaven and earth to stop Newcastle getting him, because they want to show they don't want to be embarrassed to some level of going, well, Newcastle have took a player off of us where he should be coming to. They think he should be going to them, and unfortunately they are just going all out. Wages. I'm sure his contract is incredible, and it would have been affordable, I'm sure, for Newcastle. But how far Newcastle can keep going with every transfer, they would have that problem. You'd have had the same problem with Mbeumo. So it's a common theme now. But this is, like you said, this has happened for years, that you get out.
Yeah, and that is where I kind of blame our club as not blame the club, but obviously they've not had any stability since PIF took over. Obviously, you had Ashworth in for 10, 11 months. You then went to Mitchell. Like, it's hard to sell a project with nothing, no one there to sell it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that comes down to our side, and even Eels, like the CEO, he's been going for 11 months and we haven't replaced him. So again, you put it in. I would say this is part and parcel with the Isak problem. He's looking at it going, well, who is driving this project? Because we're now we're going to be on to our third director of football, and they're all going to have their own individual ideas, which are going to take 3, 4, 5 years to implement. So at the same time as saying it's PSR, of course, we've got to look inwards as well. But it's just the laughable nature of the big six that think that they just utterly deserve to be able to throw money at it because they've won things. Yeah, they've won things, but they've won things the same way anyone wins things, by trumping people with money and buying the best players. Like, that is part and parcel of football.
Gavin, thank you for your call this morning, and it's a good call too.